All right, gentlemen, we need to have a talk. A frank, open discussion, if you will. And ladies, you might as well just scroll on past this video because it's really not meant for you. And as much as I'm going to piss some of the men off that are about to watch it, if you watch it, you're going to be pissed off even more. All right, now that the ladies have moved on, let's get into what I want to talk about. Men, as many of you know, I've been advocating on behalf of men and boys for almost 30 years now. And one of the biggest frustrations that I and many others who advocate for men have had to deal with is the fact that for all their bluster, for all their bitching and moaning about the unfairness that men face in society, when push comes to shove, men won't get their asses up and do anything about it. They'll talk the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, they're nowhere to be found. And when you mention that fact, they get really upset. They come up with a plethora of excuses, everything from I don't have the time, I'm too tired, I'm too busy working, or I'm too broke. Well, my brothers, I'm going to say to you what I say to many others. Excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink. The fact of the matter is, women's groups came together and got organized about 50 or 60 years ago. Seriously organized. And they've had a tremendous effect on society as a whole, and in particular, politicians. It's largely why we're at where we're at. And men, they've sat around and done nothing. Well, nothing except make excuses. I know a lot of you gentlemen that are listening to this right now aren't liking what I'm saying, but that is a fact. For every one man that's out there fighting on behalf of men and boys, there's 1,000, 10,000, hell, 100,000 women fighting on behalf of women and girls. That is the reality. And it's why they have owned our asses all this time. And it's why I and many others have said that until men decide enough is enough, until they decide to stand up and fight for themselves, and perhaps more importantly, fight for their children, nothing is going to change. In fact, it's only going to get worse. But here's the thing. That's starting to happen. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the upcoming election that's happening next week. We are being heard, not just by the politicians, but even the mainstream media, as evidenced by...
The reason I think Trump's numbers are going up so high with men, because there are a lot of men who are pro-choice too, it's just what we've done to men for the past 15 plus years in this country. Are sick and tired. It's not just of being kicked around. Men can take being kicked around. Of being told you're nothing. It's more than that. It's worse than that you're evil. It's that you're nothing. You can't have a job. You are no longer in the running in the American race to improve your life. You're out.
Now, while I might quibble a bit with what Megyn Kelly said, claiming it's only in the past 15 years, when in reality it's been in the past 50 or 60, the fact of the matter is everything else she said is spot on. They're actually getting it. They're actually listening to us. They're actually saying what we've been saying for years now. And it's not just the media. The politicians are hearing it also. Both parties are in full-blown panic mode over the men's vote. In fact, the men's vote is going to decide this election, not just for the presidency, but all the way down to the local level. For years now, I've heard the naysayers and doubting Thomases justifying not taking any action, not even bothering to vote, claiming that it's the women who control the voting. There's more of them than the men. They can never get past the fact that women don't entirely vote together as a bloc, and that men do indeed have a say, not just in this election, but every election. But rather than admit or acknowledge that, or God forbid, actually do something, they use it as an excuse. Well, gentlemen, we cannot allow that to happen this time. We cannot allow those defeatist men to speak, or more precisely, not speak for us. I've been speaking to politicians, their aides, and their campaigns pretty much on a daily basis over the past few weeks. And one of the big things that is front and center on their minds is what the hell is going on with the men. They're truly perplexed about it all. And it gives us a unique opportunity to bring about change. And it starts with getting our asses up off the couch and getting out to vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. That's up to you. But the fact that you go out and vote is going to make a difference. Do your research and don't vote based strictly on party lines. Look for candidates that are going to support men and men's issues and vote for them. When I filled out my ballot, it was all over the place. I had some R's, I had some D's, and I had some L's. That would be libertarians for those of you that don't know. I filled out my ballot based on the research I did and voted for candidates that I thought were going to support men and men's issues, which is exactly what the women's groups are doing. Hell, unless you're blind, you can see that one party has made their entire campaign, not just at the presidential level, but all the way down through the local races, about one issue, a women's issue. And it really doesn't matter where you stand on that issue. You should still get your butt up off the couch and go vote. That's step one. Step two is going to be holding these politicians accountable. Those of us who are active, those of us who are meeting with the politicians can then say to them, we have the votes. We can affect your chances of getting reelected if you don't start passing some laws, making some changes, and addressing the issues that men and boys face. But we can't do that if you don't take that first step. Again, I'm not telling you who to vote for. That's your personal decision. All I'm saying is get your freaking ass up off the couch and go vote. And if you're one of those defeatists, one of those naysayers who doesn't go out to vote and encourages other men to not waste their time, remember, you're not the solution. You are the problem. I hate to break it to you, my friend. It's not the women's groups or women in general. It's not the politicians' fault. It's your fault for not being willing to stand up and speak out, for not being willing to take a few minutes out of your life and go and vote, for rolling over and giving up. Sorry to be blunt, but many of you need to hear that. And I don't want to hear later on any bitching and moaning about things like how biased family court is, why there's no domestic violence shelters for men, why false allegations are rampant. The list is endless. Because if men aren't willing to get up, stand up, speak up, and fight, well, we deserve to be where we're at. And it's because we haven't done those things, haven't stood together, haven't spoken up. Well, that's why we're at where we're at. In my 30 years as an advocate for men and boys, I have never seen an opportunity like this one. For the first time ever, we've got their attention, really got their attention. And my fear is we're going to blow it. We're going to blow it big time. So, gentlemen, if you haven't voted, put down your phone, get up off the couch, and go vote. It matters. It matters a lot. It matters in who gets elected this go-around, but more importantly, how much attention we're going to get on men's and boys' issues from politicians in the near and distant future. But nothing's going to change if we all don't get out and vote. Don't do it for me. Do it for yourselves. And more importantly, do it for your sons, your brothers, your dads, your uncles, and every other man out there. And I don't want to hear the lame excuses why you can't. I hear every single day men say, nobody cares about us. Nobody listens to us. Well, here's your chance. It's time to put up or shut up, gentlemen. To paraphrase Master Yoda, there is no try. We can either do or do not. And which one do you think is actually going to help us to bring about change?